boy. Welcome back to another episode of Vaabs podcast. Hey, that's our first gun fingers out there. Fucking guys. Yes, boy. It's me, your host, Captain Lebrazil. To my right is your beautiful host, Mr. Delicious D. Behind the camera, and even more delicious D, your certified Vaabs controller, DJ D. And now, Davey. It's a big one for us today, I'll be honest.
It's a very special week. This week we have a very special guest with 6 years of DJ and producing. Sorry, my intro's in the way. Panic. With 6 years of experience in music and producing music and DJing, they've been a stalwart name in countless lineups across Cape Town and Johannesburg. While still working one of South Africa's biggest D&B events company, responsible for bringing some of the most massive international artists like Graphics, Matic, and next month, Monroe and Kokota. I always mess up that name. While doing all of this, they still managed to enrich the community with the educational brand SoulLink, providing a foundation to help upcoming producers hone their craft. Everyone, please welcome Soul Pillars.
Soul Pillars in the building.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
No, it's like to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. So we wanted to ask you, like, going through everything. What's this now?
You said thank you for having us.
Alright, but we wanted to ask you, obviously, like, doing our research and going through everything and seeing you play like live, I feel like there's a very, I don't know, you can feel the love you have for the genre, even if it's like when you're playing, through your production, through everything that you do with science fiction. So we wanted to know, what made you choose drum and bass?
Drum and bass, I mean, in the beginning, I really enjoy listening to like heavy metal and rock music. I think a lot of people can resonate with that. You listen to drum and bass now, so like quite high energy. I'm very like intricate instrumentally, you know, like people really honing their craft. So when I discovered drum and bass, it was actually an addiction. So that was back at And Club when And was in Braamfontein on Steeman Street. So this was about circa 2014. And I'd like heard of drum and bass before that. Channels like Liquidity, like YouTube channels, you know, like scouring the internet for cool sounds. And then when I went to this club night, it was very much like a completely different side of drum and bass that I've ever heard, like very dark and like gritty and like sound system, you know, something I've never heard before. So I think that's kind of what drew me into it. And then, we just started abusing going to the rave. And then I kind of just developed like a really deep connection with it. Yeah.
And then, were you making any kind of music beforehand, or when you found drum and bass was that?
Yeah, so I was in a band beforehand. We called ourselves... It's so cringe. But we called ourselves Mortal Dawn. Keep in mind, we were like, 15, 16 years old. And I played guitar. It was like a metal band. We had two guitarists, a drummer and a bassist. And I'm actually still in contact with two of them. And we like would meet up like impromptu, always at the drummer's house, you know, because that's where the drummer's like not moving.
Hey guys, I'm not moving everything.
So we jammed there for quite a long time, and I kind of stopped really playing guitar as much when I started getting into like high school, maybe like 17, 18. So I can still play, but it's not like, solid. It's not like tight anymore. So I have that kind of musical background, a lot of self-trained stuff. But I was always kind of lagging behind on like music theory.
This is what I wanted to know. Because I feel like with production, it's very daunting when you look at it. Like when I see, like when I watch your videos of like how you make the songs, like I like wobbles too. But when I look at how you make the whole, like there's like 1,000 steps you need to get.
Absolutely. But I think with music production, there's a lot of different elements. So luckily from my experience playing guitar, I had a bit of the songwriting stuff down. So like I kind of knew, like if I had a melody in my head, I could play it on guitar, and then end up translating that into the software. But the software is a big learning curve. You know, it's like learning Photoshop or like learning After Effects, or, you know, there's like, it's just becoming familiar with how to use this medium to translate what you have in your head into what you can listen to. So, I mean, you can have all the musical talents in the world, but like, if you want to produce music, you got to get down to like some technical nitty gritty stuff as well. Yeah.
Do you feel like your brain just operates like that completely? Like when you go and see shows now, you're just literally seeing Ableton like right. Like, okay.
Nah, I wouldn't say so.
Okay, you can still enjoy it.
Yeah, I still enjoy it. Can still like look out for the emotion, the emotion of the music. Yeah. Although sometimes, like if it's a cuck tune, something I'll be like, yo, that snare's a bit loud. Or like,
you can decrease that if you want.
Like, but I try not to like focus in on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it's so easy to get, I don't know, obsessive about it as well. Because I mean, I know when I first started like actually paying attention when DJs are mixing, and having DJ friends who in your ear would be like, this is shit mixing, and you're like, wait, what do you mean? I joined everybody.
How did you get
double drop?
That was a double drop. I didn't know the song.
They're
Okay.
definitely redlining right now. Who are you?
Do you know the hosting?
Someone's hosting a competition. Who is it, Libs? What is up, guys? This episode is sponsored by EQVest.
EQVest is currently hosting a competition where you could win a 5,000 Rand investment account and a VIP film experience for you and 4 of your friends, as well as brand and merch.
And the hardest part of that is going to be finding 4 friends to come with you.
Damn. As well.
Do you have 4 friends for you?
Yeah, and they're in this room today. Well, 3 of them at least. You don't count.
EQVest is a public company promoting alternative investment options on its innovative crowdfunding platform. Imagine investing in some of your favorite TV shows that have been on Netflix.
MasterChef.
Ah, what's your favorite dish?
Wasabi.
These investments offer high-yielding returns from 16 to 24%, while providing options, transparency, and liquidity.
3 reasons why I lost my last girlfriend. Visit eqvest.co.za and fill in the form to enter. EQVest is administered by Unum Capital Pty Limited and Lifecycle.
That's eqvest.co.za. Level up your money game today and join EQVest on your investment journey.
EQVest. Same time. 3, 2.
EQVest.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3. EQ. David. 1, 2, 3. EQ. He just coughed. 1, 2, 3. EQVest.
The alternative way
To invest. You shouldn't have touched my face like that.
Yeah, I mean, I started out, like before I started messing around with production and stuff, I was a raver, you know, I was like on the dance floor dancing, like trying to enjoy the music. So I've tried to like keep that mentality when I'm out and about and listening to music. Or like if I'm going with the intention to have a rave, like try and just be there for that, you know, instead of like obviously, I'm keen to listen to good DJs who are like, you know, not messing up or like making too many mistakes, or if they are making mistakes, they're like fixing things quickly. But if I'm there to listen to music, then like I just wanna
don't ask me about anything. I'm here.
yeah. Yeah, it's like I know it was double drop, bro, or like I know he's probably redlining, but like we're here to just listen to the music.
Yeah, 100%. Have you ever been at a rave and like gotten inspiration for like a song and then you just fuck off, or how does your how does your process actually work? Like when you...
I definitely have gotten inspiration from shows before, but inspiration wise, I guess at a more broad level, when I sit down to like write a song, it depends. Sometimes I'll have something in my head that I'm like, cool, this sounds like it would be a sick sort of rhythm or like a sick groove, and I'll try like translate that quickly, just like the foundation. But a lot of the time is also just having sessions where I'm not trying to like make a tune or write a tune it's more like making sounds, like let's make some drums, like let's make some kicks and snares and like drum patterns, and let's work on some effects, noise, and then like ideas will kind of come on their own.
Yeah.
But I have tried to like focus a little bit more on the kind of music that I write, and like where I focus my initial attention on when I'm writing tunes. Because it is like a blank canvas, you know, you're like, where do I start?
Yeah,
you know,
you can start anywhere.
is it this noise or is it like there? So I try and really just like focus on the drums and the bass. And then like build everything up around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, inspiration's a weird one. I kind of just like,
Yeah.
and then if it's a cuck idea, like, oh well, you know.
You have those files in your computer that's like, one day I'll come back to you. We'll work on it.
No, there's lots of those. There's lots of those. I would like there to be more of those, because it's like a numbers game.
Yeah.
You know, you have to just make music, and then out of like 20 tunes, you know, maybe 5 or 6 will end up getting signed or end up getting released, or end up getting finished as well, you know. So it is like then things get recycled as well. So there's been times where I have projects and I'll leave them for a while and then like not really digging them, and then I'll come back to them and kind of like scrape them and put a new tune together.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
basically like how you were asking earlier.
Mm.
Yeah. Because Davey had the question as well. Like, I don't know if you want to ask it. It's
No,
your question.
You take you.
Okay, for you. I will. But the question of basically like, have you ever put out a song and then like the better you get? Because I feel like listening to your music, like I know something technically amazing is happening because I can hear it. I just don't understand what you've done or how you've done it. And I feel like that's just like listening as a layman. But do you ever, like after you've sharpened your skills, go back to a song that you've previously released and been like, oh shit, I would have done this differently, or I would have added this?
No,
or...
facts. Literally, like, all the time, year on year. Like, I mean, as fast as I can improve as an artist, then what you just described will be happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is why a lot of people like don't release any music. They take their time to release music, which is kind of one way to go about it. So I don't know, maybe I'd like jump the gun with my initial releases, because they're like not like as polished as maybe I would have liked them to have been. But I don't know, I think it's important to like just put your music and your art out there and like let the world, you know, just like get it out there instead of holding onto it. So for sure, but like sometimes I'm like pleasantly surprised, and I listen back to some of my older music, like not the old, like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'd be like, yo, like there's actually a big vibe here, like it still sounds good, like
Still a treffer.
That's nice. How does it work when making a song? Do you ever have the intention of playing it live, or do you look at it as like a soul, like its own item, like this can just be played anywhere? Don't need to think about it as in the set being played, or
so I've tried to be quite intentional about that when I'm writing music these days. Like from the get-go, like this is going to be like, I want to play this, I want to make a tune that I can play in the club. But I did an EP which I released this year called Blue Jay EP, and that was like a whole bunch of stuff that I was working on last year, like in the last half of last year. And that like piece of music, I was like, I'm gonna release this just to be listened to, like it's not necessarily for the club, like it's a little bit more emotive. But recently I've been trying to make music for the clubs or like the raves.
That's nice.
Yeah, sounds like it. I'll be honest. Yeah, a lot of them sound like they go fucking off on those voids. Void system. Yeah. How much of your process or your music is like emotion based? Because I know with drum and bass, like a lot of, and as you mentioned earlier, like you just like to listen for the emotion in the song. And I feel like with drum and bass, it's such a wide genre, like from liquid to jump up to rollers, you have it all.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you're feeling, you can express it. But how much of that is important to you when you're in that process?
When I'm like writing music? Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's like I've ended up, I like write very moody music, you know, Like that's what comes most naturally to me. But I always like kind of try have a mood or some kind of emotion in there. And that's where it gets quite difficult, like musically when writing music, especially electronic music. Like a lot of drum and bass out there, like the emotion is like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
You know? That's the emotion. It's not
And I'll just be sad.
or like
Let's
somber
go.
or like reflective. So that's cool. And I think some of the music I've written does have that as well, but I could try to get some sort of in-between emotion sometimes. That's like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, guys. It's difficult for me to like, I actually want you to tell me, like, what do you feel?
When I listened to it, initially I was like, it sounds like very like video game music. I think it was Zephyr Point.
Oh, Zenith Point.
Oh, Zenith Point. That's the one. Yeah, that sounds very like. Oh, like I was listening to it while I was driving, and I was like, "Yo, this is fucking intense." But then you also have music that makes me like also want to share. I was thinking about it, it's like the duality of drum and bass. I think the song's called Sensation. And it's like you have these beautiful ethereal vocals and then just this fucking chainsaw ripper right at the end. And I was just like,
oh, sick, man.
But it's like, that to me is like the beauty of drum and bass, where it's just like in the same song, you can experience so many like different emotions and different touch points, and that let's go like sometimes can take a little bit of a lull for you to just like vibe out and shit. So
I do dig like drum and bass. I mean, I think like Mephius as an example, like an obvious example is like Mephius and Cameron Crooked. They get that like heaviness really well, but they have this like cinematic element to it, you know. It's like quite epic and like quite like grand, you know what I mean? I dig that quite a lot, that like cinematic sort of
like a weird type of build up almost.
Sorry?
Like a build up, sorry.
Yeah. Something that feels like a bit larger than life.
Mosey does it as well, I think.
Yeah.
The way it's like that kind of like build up and then that when you're just like, where did this come from? But I love all of it. So in terms of your like releases and then being a DJ as well, would you say that there's like obviously one that you prefer more, like being in the studio and making the songs, or being out there and like being with the people and being?
They're both really cool. DJing is a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun, like especially coming out of COVID, like it was so much fun to start playing shows again. Like certain shows can be more chill than other ones, you know, and like I think I place a bit more importance on certain shows, just in terms of like seeing it as an opportunity to like present my sound, you know. Twilight Festival has always been an example of that. Like, cool, this is a chance to like push something new or try a different angle or approach to my sound. But all gigs are really, really fun, and being in the studio is rewarding in a different way though. Like when I'm working on a tune and like find a hook and you're like, yes, this is the one. Like, this is the one, you know. So yeah, both of them are exciting in different ways. 100%.
I feel like producing, it's nice, but it also can be very lonely because it's literally you and the computer, and it's like, this is us tonight.
But I feel like producers a lot of the time are those kind of people who enjoy that, are like, sweet, we get to stay in for like 8 hours on a Friday night to write tunes, which I do enjoy. Like I'll be keen sometimes to get home to like work on a tune or spend that time, you know, just like getting square eyes and like missing meals and stuff to write music.
And then right at the end, they're like, and just by the way, you're probably gonna have to play this. So the DJ said, it's like, I'll just make the music.
In terms of like obviously like production and the scene itself, what made you want to now start Soul Link and try like teach people how to?
Okay.
It doesn't seem, the vibe that I get from it is it doesn't seem almost like a beginner's course guide. It seems almost like you need to know a bit to participate, or was that on purpose? Or
so that was on purpose. So Soul Link kind of existed before as an event brand. So when I used to work at Ant Club, this was from 2019 to like April last year. I started Soul Link as like a drum and bass kind of more liquid oriented sort of brand, where like the first half of the jaw is going to be liquid, and then things would like kick up. It's like very small and intimate. And then over the years, I've had like one or two more events like here and there at Ant Club, or like a showcase at Twilight. And then it was this year where I kind of started thinking about the production school vibe and how I could obviously maybe start making a bit of money from that, but also like filling a gap for electronic music, you know, where people kind of have the tools, or they start out, but kind of taking it to the next level, you know, because I had that same sort of issue when I was learning how to produce. I mean, there's a lot of resources online, you know, and if you don't go looking for them, then you just plateau, and then you're like trying the same things, and your music's just going to sound the same. So it was an idea to not teach people like how to use Ableton, like how to navigate, but like kind of teach people more nuanced concepts and like ways of approaching things and ways of thinking about things, and like technical aspects for like intermediate producers. So it's still in its infancy. Hasn't taken off yet. But I think the more effort I put into it, the more it'll come back to me.
Plus, I feel like there's a massive, like you said, massive gap there, because how many people like have we interviewed and like spoken to? It's like, oh, my friend had a DJ set like deck, so we kind of learned from each other, kind of thing. And it's never ever that like almost formal education point to be like, oh, this is like the extra stuff that will help you countlessly.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely had friends who were like interested in learning about music production, and then they would go to a more formal institution, maybe expecting to learn those sorts of things, but then learning, you know, other things about the music production world. So I feel like there's a space there in South Africa as well, you know, like more with someone that you know, or like see at the Joels, like have a little bit of common ground with.
100%. I feel like that's such a, like, I don't know, just the education of it. Like you can see you're very passionate about it. Like even when, like I mentioned earlier, when you take people through like how you make certain like noises or decisions or things like that in production, it's like even the decision to do that to like the audience on Instagram, it must come from a place of like, obviously I didn't have this when I was there before. I wish someone would have done this, because then it would have fired off something in my head to like create differently or think differently. Or
definitely. And to try like, I guess, provide people with information so that they can be better music out there, or like take these tools and like take these tools that I've experimented with at work, and then like make some sick music.
Do something, do it yourself.
It's like I want to listen to better music, get better articles, so I can have more fun.
I must be honest, those hats were too high.
I know I said I was coming to enjoy it, but
I will teach the people. Oh gosh.
Do you want to do Twilight, or do you want to do? One of the questions, this is mainly a bit of a like one on my side, because I've often wondered how like the processing of making a song is. It's like, do you believe that like you have everything in your arsenal in that sense? Like you've got all the tools and you just need to kind of make it, or is it like you're going to take the inspiration from different points as the song carries through?
I
know it's a weird,
no, it's a cool question, because that process has changed for me as I've written music. I think like a few years ago, I was very much like when I start a tune, like this is what I've got in mind. Like I'm gonna do it from start to finish, and I've gotten pretty good at finishing tunes as well, which is quite a big thing. Like even if they don't ever get released or like see the light of day, just like going from start to finish.
Yeah.
But now like I've been writing tunes and then just like letting them chill for like weeks or months, and then like there's music now that I'm still kind of making small tweaks on that I started out in like June or May, you know. And there's been a couple tunes where I like have started with that initial idea, and then months down the line kind of come back to it and just kind of scrap some parts and take it in a completely different sort of direction, like change the mood or the vibe, or like bring the energy down at that point in the tune and take it back up there. So in trying to be a little bit more flexible with like what the idea of the tune is and just like where it goes, kind of try like improve upon it, you know. Which has been quite cool, like having really good results. It feels like more often than not, it's like come back to a tune and you're like, you know, not really vibing with it, and then you're just like, sweet, let's scrap that, like no personal attachment. Like, you know, and then let's put something together that's a bit better or a bit better suited to what we're trying to go for.
That's dope.
I feel like you have to have that resilience of almost like, listen, we're gonna sit down here, open mind, open heart, and anything that happens, we just have to be okay with. And it's like, when you finally get the one that you're like, yes, this is fucking bang, it must feel so like rewarding. And
it does feel quite nice, but wasn't always like that, like personal attachment to your tunes. Now you spent like however many hours it is, like 10 hours, 20 hours on a tune, and like, you know, there's part of you in it, and to scrap something or like make changes can be very difficult, but like being objective and like being a bit impersonal is really, you need to build up those skills for your own music, because like if you're not 100% for it, then you know, you're just dredging through this tune, like trying to finish it instead of like being psyched to like refine it and like get everything kind of how you want it.
Proud of it, basically. Like, it's fine.
So from obviously producing for so many years and DJing for so many years, when you eventually got the call up to be Lieutenant General of Science Frikshun, what was that like?
That was, I think I took a lot of initiative from my side. So I was part of the street team, you know, however many years ago, like 2018, 2019. And at the time, the guy who was sort of in my role at the moment was Jesse. Circa was his DJ name. And I was kind of like a lighty, and he was teaching me the ropes, and like I was learning more about like the back end of everything of the raves. And then he immigrated, and I kind of reached out and was like, I want to kind of step up and fill this position. And I think it took a while for Ryan to kind of like gain my trust, or like see that I'm not just some fucking like lighty.
You're not trying to get guest list for all the
who's keen to like have a jaw. So I kind of had quite a bit of experience bartending, and like I had an idea of what behind the scenes was at venues and bars. So I was just like stoked to be in that, like have those kinds of opportunities to like put in the work or like help out and take initiative and stuff.
That's beautiful. I feel like it's also like, for me, I would think it would be daunting, like initially, like it's like one of the longest standing drum and bass brands in the country, and like the parties that they throw are fucking insane. And it's like, you're just like, I just want to be involved. Like, put me up there. Like, for me and Coach, I'm ready.
It's cool. young and ignorant.
Look back at damn, I had some balls doing this. Like,
Me now would never have done that. That was so ballsy.
I think for me, a lot of it had to do with like Ant Club as well. I was like, so I initially didn't like techno, you know. I was like, nah, like drum and bass. But I initially, like, eventually kind of got dragged into the techno thing as well, and Science Frikshun and like Ant Club both happening at the same place. Like getting involved in this culture and this like thing that was happening there, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
there's like a slight one, like slight question in that sense. Would you ever listen to techno after drum and bass? Because Lebs and I have gone through this whole big thing where you go to like a drum and bass show and go to techno and you feel like you've like slowed down time basically.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, like
Getting
right
years
after.
back.
Yeah, like as an event kind of thing. Like,
That's a weird one. Normally, when there are options available, I'm normally at the drum and bass floor, you know.
yeah.
Like either just sussing what's going on or like having a bit of a jam. But it can be quite jarring. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's like not jarring. I feel like I still like techno, but going from those two right after each other.
It was literally the graphics troll. Like you're inside busy fucking losing your neck, and then you go outside to garden, and you're like, "Oh, hectic, this."
And it's the
quiet.
truth as well. Like,
And then
That's
also,
true.
also that the Newtown takeover, same thing. So
Yeah.
the other stages, I was just like, this. I know this is good music. I just can't stay here.
Yeah, I guess we dig having that kind of contrast for people to just mellow out in one place or like sweat if they want to sweat.
Yeah, that's a
Which-
godsend actually.
Yeah,
That was a sweaty night. Fuck sakes.
that was hot in there, bro.
Oh, it was puzzled. Oh, but it was worth it. Oh, it was worth it. God damn. I feel like that's nothing compared to like a Twilight. Like for me, so this Twilight we're going to now is our first Twilight.
Sweet.
Terrified.
Yeah.
Must be honest. We've been indoor butts for a very long time.
We also said we would never be open air as well.
Yeah, we were
Never been to an open air.
Never.
When we started, it was like interviewing artists and stuff like that. We used to slander open air, and we would slander the outdoors. And then it was like, "Hey, bro, I think that it kind of looks cool over there. Maybe we should just go check it out once."
And everyone was always like, "No, man, open air is like beautiful. Like you have to go. You have to try." And we're like, "You won't see us."
You won't see us. And then it's like, actually, maybe we should just check it out.
Listen, Oaks, if you're going to Fezzy and Joburg during summer, like, you just have to be prepared for rain, dude.
I just don't understand how it rains every time, basically. Like
Every time, dog. It's
no.
Actually, like, I think Twilight in April and November last year were like not too bad. Like if anyone says otherwise, they're just whining, bro. Because like I've seen what rain is like, dude.
I've seen the worst.
So you guys just need a checklist. Like make sure you've got your like Excel spreadsheet. Get
bring
your
your
roster
rides?
together. Like have you got all tent, pillow, camping chair?
boat.
Have you got your like boat? Yeah, it's quite nice because you can like glamp in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can, it's like you can take everything that you need for 3 days and chuck it in your tent and just have a joy, you know.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it.
What would be one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's never gone to Twilight? Like not,
Ooh.
or like apprehensive about it, like something that
Sure.
they wouldn't know about. That you're like, this is you. If you knew about this, you would want to go, kind of
Okay.
thing.
Can I give you a few things?
Yeah.
Lay it on us.
If you want to have a hot shower, you need to do it in the early AMs, like talking
hot
like
water
3
rains.
a.m., 4 a.m.
Hectic.
I was
Like,
thinking 6.
like that's the base time. You could probably get away with like 5 a.m., but otherwise just like expect a cold shower. Bring sunscreen and like lots of water because it does get like crazy hot. And when you're doping, you know, you want to last the festival. You want to last. And then, yeah, for me, like hearing protection is always really, really nice because the rigs are loud and yeah, by the end of the festival, if you've got hearing protection, like your ears are going to be
Chill.
absolutely perfect.
You're
Yeah,
not going home with tinnitus.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that ringing thing they call in your ears. What's that again? It was a horrible joke. It is. What
Talking about jump up.
love
I'm
jump.
joking.
I swear I'm joking.
Not just rollers, man. Fuck's sakes. Fuck's sakes. What about this year's Twilight are you most excited for?
Yeah, the drum and bass stage. I think such a two-dimensional answer, bro. But the drum and bass stage, we're trying to change up the look of the stage a little bit. Previous Twilights we've run with the sort of wooden palette stage front, so like quite clean. So we're gonna like mix it up a little bit this year, just from like the visual aspect. But just the music, yeah, like we're really excited to see how the atmosphere at the drum and bass stage is going to be, like how the vibe is, like how the people are doing there, you know, just like the atmosphere, like what kind of, how do you feel when you go there, you know what I mean?
Just keen for the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keen for the vibes. Obviously Monroe, like I'm keen to hear what he's got to bring.
Yeah,
But I'm just more keen from like a overall like holistic perspective.
more as like a ravers than anything else. Just
Yeah. Like, are the vibes solid, you know? Are people dancing? Are there like lots of people? Are they having a good time? You know?
New faces, all of those kind of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. That'll be sick. Oh,
It's gonna be exciting.
it's gonna be so fucking sick, man. I'm scared. I'm very
I mean,
scared.
you know, should be.
The worst is no one said that. Everyone's like, no, it'll be fun. You're gonna have a great
It's
time.
gonna be so cool, man. It's Twilight.
Like, it can be dangerous, bro, you know? It's exciting, like the adrenaline's going.
Fall in the
Next thing
mud.
you know, you're like, yes, bro, like in the tent or something.
Heat
Like,
stroke.
take it as it comes. Like, you don't want to spend your festival in your tent, you know what I mean?
Fair
That's
enough.
like the worst thing that could happen is, yeah.
What's the wildest thing that's, if you're allowed to say, what's the wildest thing that's happened to you at one of these open air
What you've
festivals?
seen.
Sheesh. I don't know. Like the wildest thing, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I have a good time, but I go responsibly. You know? Like I've never like needed medical attention or like been
It's like a badge of honor.
been on like a bad trip or something at a festival.
Yeah.
Probably just like gotten too drunk and like close to heat stroke kind of vibes. You know what I mean?
Davey at a Joe Big Day.
Every job every day.
I mean, I've lost some items of clothing at festival, which is pretty bleak. Like,
Oh,
maybe that's not the worst thing for some people, but like,
I can understand it, bro.
Yeah, I haven't had terrible experiences. Just like mud. Like,
Is it that bad?
so much.
I've been to. I don't want to like name a festival that's had bad mud. You know, just for like slander. But, there's been some festivals I've been to with people where it's like torrential downpours and there's no grass, bro. Like, what was once grass and like solid land is now just like hundreds of meters of pure mud, like slushy mud. And you kind of have to like get over that. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
Accept that it's happening and then you're going to enjoy it.
And like literally every step you're like, I've actually never seen anything like this in my life before. So that's probably the worst. Yeah.
Fuck.
Okay.
That's
Boots.
danger. Boots. Essential. Add it to the fucking list, kids. Make sure you got it.
Yeah.
Dol, how long have you been going? 38. That brings us to their favorite part of the episode. So it's ours as well. We like it still. But we have a little segment on the podcast called Vaab Checks. Basically, David's gonna explain it because he loves to explain it. So David, take it away.
Hate doing it. Vibe check is essentially we give our guest good vibes, bad vibes question. They can answer good vibes, mid vibes, bad vibes, the worst vibes, or the best. You can describe it or why. That's what describe.
Elaborate.
Elaborate. Or you can just keep it as bad vibes or good vibes, depending on how you're feeling.
Bad vibes are good vibes. So the first one is a very cheeky vibe check, but it's vibe check on putting posters outside other people's
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Bad fucking
Bad
vibes.
fucking vibes, you know it, man.
Bad vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you elaborated already on Graham, but I don't know if you'd
Yeah,
like.
you guys can link everyone to that video.
Yeah,
it's like an 8-minute rant.
He said all he needs to say. Go watch it over there.
Yeah, very fair.
Yeah. Next vibe check is one that's specific to, I feel, Joe Big, but vibe check on rollers.
Yeah.
Good vibes, bad vibes.
I mean, great vibes.
Okay.
Like I do get people where they're coming from with like, wanting to diversify music and stuff like that. And at Science Friction, we also try to push that ethos, But yeah, sometimes lineups end up happening where people on the lineup, like that's what the vibes are. And like, I think a really good DJ can like take a set full of rollers and like get that atmosphere going, but also like mix it up a little bit, like maybe take the energy up a little bit or like bring it back down with some liquid. So yeah, rollers. I mean, I could play rollers for hours, bro.
I could exclusively listen to rollers.
I could exclusively do that.
Oh, that's beautiful. We also have a cheeky segment here that we've started. It's called the speed round. So Davey's gonna bang out some questions for you, and then you just first thing that comes to your mind. Yes, no, maybe, love it,
Cool,
horrible, great vibes. I got it here if you want.
No, I realized I had yours, yeah.
Davey's got it. While Davey's searching, Dylan, have you finished your water?
Do you want it?
Who's on? Would you like some more water? We got one more glass.
But ice, we got
yes,
everything.
please. No, but I feel like level one's this one.
No,
No.
Mr. Phyllis. It's all yours.
There's more.
Alrighty,
Cool.
I'm ready. Alright, so you can just answer them as fast as possible. You can take a quick second just to think in case you want to articulate it. But speed round starts off with early sets versus late sets. Your favorite?
Late sets.
Late sets. Biggest ick about DJing or producing?
Social media.
Ooh.
Favorite party you've ever played?
Science Friction.
I'll be specific.
Okay. Favorite party I've ever played in the last 2 years. 6-hour back-to-back with Rude One at Addiction in October last year.
That is
Yeah.
intense.
Jesus
I want to talk about that one. Your dream international to bring over.
Dude, everyone always asks this. People ask
Oh
this
yeah,
question.
I'm sure you're at the forefront all the time. Like, who you guys think you're bringing this year? It's like, please.
I could give you like a top 3-ish.
Yeah.
Mephius. Someone maybe like Emperor. And then Leveler. If you guys know Leveler. Yeah, really like solid artists, pretty big.
It's also very impressive how like none of them were like the main ones that like most people would say like should come. Like it wasn't like a headache.
Oh, some
Nah.
focus headaches, boo.
Nah, like I'm about that gritty sort of like
Yeah.
Like E9 for me was one of my like the top international artists I've seen lately. And,
Yeah.
like it's got the
It's got the grit.
yeah.
Oh gosh, I feel like there were some answers in there though that I feel like I'd like to know more about, like the 6-hour back-to-back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can chat about it.
How did that?
Not even how did that happen. I want to know what it is about drum and bass as a genre where I don't know. I feel like there's this thing in DJs where they feel like an hour set can never be enough. Like
Yeah,
an hour
big
set,
facts,
is
bro. It isn't. I think it's a big thing overseas. Like I often see rosters overseas having like 1 hour lineups, but science fiction has always tried to like push at least an hour and a half, like 2 hour opening slots, which doesn't always work. But and like when I started getting more involved with addiction as well, I was taking a lot of inspiration from Toy Toy, like techno raves, and they, you know, always about like 2 hour slots, if not longer. So the 6 hour thing, I guess last year we just had, because we knew how many addictions we were throwing that year, they were all booked. We were trying to figure out something to do for the last one in October. And then I think Rowan almost said it like jokingly, you know, and then as it got closer and closer, we were like, okay, like, oh yeah, let's do it. Like Rude One flight up, we had Mariposa do an opening set for an hour and a half. And then, we just like went 6 hours. It was so cool, man. Like, we kind of got to like express the sound that we both had for addiction, and then really like put that forward, you know, to the people that came through. So it was like a lot of liquid drum and bass, all the way up through until maybe 12, Hoppers 12. And then only then did we really start like going a little bit deeper and a little bit heavier. But it was, wicked.
What do you unlock after hour 3? What happens?
What happens, bro? I don't know. It just felt like natural, you know, like at home. I've spent a lot of time at the club and like played there quite a bit. So it's just very much like being nestled in, got a dorp, like water, making some tunes. And we would take some breaks, you know. It'd be like, Ron would be like, sweet, I'm going to go chill for a bit. Like, then I would play for 10, 15 minutes. And then he'd be like, okay, fuck off, I'm going to play. And then I'd, sweet, you know. So it was just very flow. Like, we didn't do any prep beforehand. We kind of just rocked up with a bunch of tunes and, went from there.
If you had to do that again, was there anything you'd change or?
Not really, dude. It's just cool to be able to bounce off someone and who you on the same wavelength with in terms of like what the sound is that you want to play and like what the idea is behind, you know, addiction. And because it is different, it's difficult to translate that, and like not everyone, you know, everyone who plays at the parties is going to have their own interpretation of that. So it always is someone else bringing their own flavor to it, and they might not always bring what we were thinking they would bring, you know what I mean? That's just how it is, you know, that's just how it goes. But it was also cool to be able to like present what we think we want to present.
100%. You invite every artist you've ever booked. Like, this is
what it should be.
This is what it should have looked like.
By the way.
No.
I imagine that's because you're almost like telling a story as well. Because I feel like the hour sets, you're not telling any story. But at least with 6 hours, like you said, start with the liquid and go into the heavier things.
Yeah, for sure.
Give ebb and flow to everything, basically.
Absolutely. Like the hour sets you a little bit more you pressed. You got to like condense your ideas into like a more explosive package, if that makes sense. But if you're playing for like 2 hours or more, you can like draw parts out a little bit, you know. You can be like, sweet, I'll let this tune play out. Like people can hear the second drop of this one, you know. Like,
that's so fucking true.
And then speed it up at parts as well.
Yeah. And then about social media being an ick of DJing, I don't know if you.
It's just tough. I'm like, sure, you guys are like knee deep in that.
We've got our own things about it as well. TikTok is a cesspool.
I've tried to also this year get a little bit more involved in it at times because I've had the time at the moment. But it just does become quite. It's a labor, and then it's a labor of love, you know. And you have to do these certain things to achieve these certain things, and you're like constantly trying to wiggle around things and figure things out. just like, you know, reach people and find people who are like resonating with your stuff. So obviously you've got like these intentions that you want people to like discover your stuff. You want to build a community, but the methods by which you're forced to do these things are a little bit like soul sucking at times. You know?
100%.
And if the algorithm likes you or not depends on how many people see it, basically.
Yeah.
And then you're like, am I shadow banned or like,
Yeah.
like are people ever going to see my stuff?
Do people like me?
Oh god, we literally had that now on TikTok where I feel like we've been shadow banned for the past like 100 months. So then I sat Dylan Dave down and I was like, we need to make a new TikTok account, but except it's gonna be anti-TikTok. So it's gonna be on TikTok, anti-TikTok. We're gonna call it Vaabs Podcast because fuck TikTok and everything. 100%. The very next video we dropped got like 15,000 views.
No ways.
Fuck. When I tell you, it was literally
40 comments.
I posted it in anger, and then I got it, and then it got that response. Next one, 11K. I was like, what the fuck is going
That's so
on?
cool.
But then, no. Great. Next one, 500. Next one, 400. I was like, great chat. Thanks. It makes no sense.
I mean, you guys are obviously like breaking the mold and going against the grain with the norm, and then get rewarded for that kind of stuff. But figuring out that kind of stuff, like it's almost unintentional sometimes, you know what I mean?
Fully.
And then just also kind of like I want to make content that I feel like adds something, and a lot of content out there is like, you know, it's not necessarily about that. I think even before I started the production, I had the idea for the production school, I was like very bleak at some of the educational content on Instagram around music production, because it's very like surface level. It's very like, you know, obviously people are watching these things and like, oh wow, you know, it's shot so nicely, but like there's not a lot there for people to actually
Grasp onto.
Polished a turd, basically.
Yeah, it's just like scratching the surface kind of vibe. And then so yeah, that's just my thoughts behind it. But obviously it's essential, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but I feel like it's because it's one of those things. I don't want to get into a whole rant about social media, but it's like you know what works. Like everybody knows what works, but then it's about looking at yourself and being like, do I actually want to do that though?
yeah,
Like it's
for
like, I feel like we could be at like a stupid amount of followers by now if we did all the Beatty
For sure.
bullshit.
Trends.
Who do you think should pay on the first date type content? like every other podcast.
Yeah.
But it's just like, because that's not who we are. We don't care about that kind of stuff. It's like, it takes longer, but I feel like it still happens.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's cool though. Yeah, just stay true to like what you believe in, and then things will come back to you. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. We wanted to try something with you because we feel like, before even meeting you, like I feel like you're a very interesting person and you like a lot of things. So not
I
even
do.
music related.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to know essentially like a signal boost. Like what's something that you've consumed or that like you're fucking with or you enjoy that you feel like doesn't have enough eyes on it?
Ish. So like ancient aliens.
Here we go.
I'm kidding.
The real shit.
We can chat about that if you want.
We'll double lost him.
No, I'm kidding. So like I've just finished my degree now, and one of my majors is politics. So I know politics gets a bad rap, and like I feel like people don't have like a really solid perception of what politics is about. Like obviously we get politics that happen in SA, like the day-to-day sort of stuff. That's like the face level kind of stuff, you know, like politicians lying and just like cuck. But I've got really interested just in about like the history of Africa and like South Africa and like how we came to be as like a nation, and like the rest of Africa as well. Like the history of Africa, you know, like just us as a people, and why things are the way they are today. So that's something I'm pretty interested in and like gotten quite passionate about. And then also like I just dig like informative YouTube channels, bro. Like I mean, have you guys heard of Kurt's Gesagt? So that's quite a popular one. Veritasium is another one. And then, yeah, Veritasium is my favorite. It's just like science-related content, but presented in like a very digestible way. And like sometimes they are like a little bit of mathy like sections, but they're all like really interesting topics, and they cover, yeah, just like amazing things that people are doing in the world. So it's always quite inspiring to see that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's really dope.
Yeah.
Shit. You made politics sound gangster as fuck, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it is gangster, dude. Yeah.
That's dope. David?
Oh yeah, no, I was there's a geography thing as well.
Oh god.
No, I say
No,
it adds
David's
up.
the geography.
It's like
buff.
there's a book written, I forget the author, but it's like Africa's like prisoned by their own geography in that sense, and it's like how as well the geography of the land affected our history as well. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's
And
sense.
colonialism.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Nah,
majority of
I didn't know about that.
yeah.
No,
The
but that
nonsense had
that
nothing
made
to
sense.
do
It
with
was,
it.
like the geography did, especially during colonialism. Like the Central Africa was very untouched because it was like jungle, you know.
Yeah.
So people couldn't get there. Obviously, like the Sahara as well. Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty
I
bad.
know what I'm talking about.
Nah, you always know. It always circles back when it comes to geography. You know about every single United States state and exactly where it is on the map.
Yeah.
I
How's
gotta
your
go.
African geography?
I can name all 53.
Okay, sick.
52, I think. It depends on if you consider Mauritius.
We're not gonna get into oceanic Mauritian laws. And last question: what's something that you're excited for? Just like in general, like you just finished your degree, you said, or like
Yeah.
the amount of shit science fiction I feel like is doing now. Like I feel like there's a lot to be excited about. But what's something that you're like personally?
I'm excited to like get back into the working world, like hopefully in a capacity that I would like to. And I'm also really excited to release some more music and like carry on making some more music. I've had some ideas about like starting my own label, just to like push my own sound for now. Obviously that's quite daunting,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm excited about music and like just making more music and sharing that with the world and like playing it at shows. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
With label, like, what would be one of the main benefits of starting your own label in that sense versus with another label there?
So if I started my own label, I'd just like own my own music. I'd have like 100% of the rights to my own music. So I'd get all of the royalties from the streams. And I mean, sorry, I wouldn't get any royalty from streams because you don't really get like,
Spotify hates us.
like maybe if I'm hitting like, 100K streams.
Yeah.
But like if people buy my music, everything is just a little bit more under my control.
Yeah.
And then I can like, I have 100% of the control over like
Creative.
the marketing and like the distribution and the look and feel of the brand and which service providers I use and just being able to have everything under my control. And like I guess the reasoning behind it is currently the labels that I have released on they're more of like the grassroots labels, finding like up and coming talent and niche artists. And my idea is like looking at the sort of plays and listens that I get on the various platforms. Like I don't think it's out of the question that I could achieve the same all through myself, you know? And it seems like a cool way to go.
Yeah.
100%. What is it like working with those international record labels on tunes and stuff? Is it like a easier process or?
Yeah, it's quite. It depends on who you're working with, obviously. So like, Calibrate Records, they're a UK-based label, quite small, but like the guy who runs that, and then now it's like co-run by these two dudes. they've always been like super responsive. They will always listen to the music I send them. They'll always get back to me, you know. They'll actually getting a response is like a big thing. So they have like, I have an open dialogue with them, and that's really cool, just in terms of like what's coming up and like where the music's going to go and like the dates, and getting royalties after that on like a quarterly basis, and like getting reports and stuff. So I've definitely worked with people who are like, you know, on the board, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I've had like some releases as well where it's a little bit more like lapsadaisical and a little bit more informal in a place where I would kind of want it to be more formal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's okay too. It's like those tunes were never going to be like Radio 1 bangers, you know what I mean? So they got the reach and like that they got, but it's a difficult process. Like you're signing over like half of the rights to your music, and you're putting a lot of, you know, marketing and like, because the main reason you'd want to sign to a label is to reach their audience, you know?
Yeah.
And it's only really works out that way with like massive labels who already are like super established in the game and like have tens of thousands of people following them. Otherwise, like a lot of the time it's up to the artist. Like the artist, there'll be some tunes that you'll find on Spotify or whatever, and you'll be like, yo, like 400,000 plays or something. And you go and check it and you'll go and check at the label, and it's like just a tiny little label, you know? So like I guess that's what I'm trying to do maybe with starting my own label, is take a little bit of that power and then obviously that responsibility into my hands.
Yeah.
It's like if my music isn't reaching the people it's reaching, it's like all on me, you know?
Yeah.
You can fine tune everything and fix
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's dope, man. Shit. Own
Yeah.
your masters.
Sorry?
Own your own masters.
Yeah, I'm a master.
Gotta
Like-
own the masters. We're getting them back.
There's this really cool guy. He has this music related channel, Ben Jordan, I think it's called, but he's like a bully in the music industry, and like he's made music for years and like worked on film scores and like, you know, just he makes music. He's like a professional musician. And one thing that he did quite a few years ago is when streaming platforms became very popular, he released all his music on there, and then he was encountering all these issues. He didn't own his music, and like, you know, it was just a big fuck up. And then what he actually decided to do, and he was like one of the first people that did this, he went through all these legal battles to like own the rights of his music again. And then he uploaded all of his music to the Pirate Bay, so people could torrent his music for free. And in those files, he would add like a text file with his PayPal details for people to donate if they wanted to support him. And he made way more money through that than he ever did through like streaming platforms.
Oh shit. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the kind of climate that we're in. And he's also made really insightful videos about the state of streaming platforms, and like he's got this clickbaity sort of title, like why Spotify will ultimately fail, and that kind of stuff, you know. But he goes into like big detail about why it's like just a fucked up model. So looking at that kind of stuff is a little bit like daunting as an artist, because you're like I want people to listen to my music, but I don't want to support this kind of thing that's happening, but like I want people to listen to my music.
Yeah, 100%.
Just a double-edged
So, yeah.
sword, basically.
Yeah.
That's hella interesting. Sure. You said
Yeah.
Ben Jordan.
Ben Jordan. I don't think it's Ben Howard. I think it's Ben Jordan.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
I'll
Ben
pop you
Howard,
guys. Yeah, Ben Howard's an artist.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
he doesn't seem like he would be too angry about anything besides love stories. He's not a happy man.
Oh god.
No, man.
100%. So, Liam, Mr. Liam Soul Pillars, thank you so much for coming through to the Vaab studio.
Yeah,
Really
guys.
appreciate it.
Shot for having me.
Oh, thanks
wait.
for being on.
100%.
Appreciate it a lot. It's been
No.
fun chatting.
Yeah, 100%. Keep for a chat. And it went by so quickly. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, Davey, you want to take us out?
No. Make sure
Oh
to.
well, yeah. First, wait. I'm so sorry. I promise this goes smoothly normally. Where can the people find you?
So people can find me mainly on Instagram. Then like streaming platforms, you can listen to my music on SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify, like all that kind of stuff. I also plug Twilight Festival, which is happening from 1 to 3 December, featuring Monroe and Boho and Freedom Fighters. So like the whole range. And then if you want to see me perform, you can usually find me at Science Frikshun at Ant Club at the end of the month. But yeah, sweet.
Love that.
Happiness. David, take us out.
Oh, now I can take us away. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, YouTube for the YouTube version. Everywhere where there's a podcast, you can find us.
Even in places where there aren't podcasts, like the streets. Follow us there, Davey.
If you've been to a well before and tried to throw a coin and make a wish, you've probably heard Vaabs podcast through there.
Oh.
There you go.
Yep, that's perfect. Make sure that when you're mastering your songs, it doesn't come out of only one speaker, because the other quiet speaker will only be playing Vaabs podcast very silently.
I'm not doing
We can stop. It's not-
Thank you so much, guys. For Lebs and Dill, I've been Dave. That's weird. I don't like that. But anyway, I'm going to keep that. And as always, keep
Keep vibing. Woo!